Hi, I'm Tim Autry. Welcome to principle number 1, Bridging the Gap, the principle of trust. H.L. Mencken said, "It is mutual trust, even more than mutual interest, that holds human associations together." I want to start with a story. I learned something about my sister-in-law, Sage, during her trip to Ecuador a few years ago. We were living there at the time, and we'd planned a series of outings and adventures so that she could experience some of the wonders of that magnificent country. What did I learn? Sage has a huge fear of heights and of rickety suspension footbridges. There were 4 of us on the hike that day, my wife and I, Sage, and our guide Miguel. Just before reaching our destination, we came upon a footbridge suspended over a roaring river just above a waterfall. Suzette and I didn't even pause. We stepped onto the bridge. I did my silly best, which, sometimes is not likely the smartest thing in the world, to swing and sway the bridge as we made our way across. Upon reaching the other side, we looked back to find Sage stalled in her hiking boots. She was petrified to step onto the bridge, let alone make her way across. It took a few minutes before Miguel, with whom she'd created quite the bond, was able to coax her onto the bridge. She clung to him like white on rice as they neared the center of the suspended walkway. Heck, bruises from her fingers are likely still visible on his left arm. They did make it across. Miguel and I were smiling. Sage was ecstatic. She had overcome her fear and had gotten out of her comfort zone. We then made our way to the apex of our journey, and we were rewarded with an amazing view of Cotopaxi, the highest active volcano on the planet. For Sage to have the courage to cross that bridge, she needed to trust. She first needed to trust herself enough to be trustful of Miguel. For her to be trustful of Miguel, she had to consider him to be trustworthy. Trust, trustful, trustworthy. These words are bantered about a bunch. However, most don't fully appreciate their fundamental importance to human decision and interaction. Trust lies at the center of and impacts everything. The word trust is derived from the Gothic trusty, which means agreement or pact. Trust has been and remains the most fundamental element of social capital, from the early social contracts forged in prehistoric lands to the digital agreements of today's globalized world. Trust is the linchpin that connects individuals, groups, work teams, organizations, and governments. Trust forms the basis for relationships and interactions. It's an absolute requirement for a healthy relationship between any 2 people. It's an essential underpinning of a healthy family, a functional team, a successful organization, and a prosperous society. In short, trust is a prerequisite for any productive personal, professional, or corporate endeavor. So, relative to trust, how are we doing? Well, quite frankly, not too good. The Edelman Trust Barometer has been measuring trust levels around the globe for the past 23 years. Each year, the theme of Edelman's report scores overall trends and relates them to previous years. To put some perspectives on how things are currently progressing, the Edelman report theme for 2022 was the cycle of distrust. For 2023, the title was the cycle of distrust, navigating a polarized world. Distrust breeds polarization, and guess what? Polarization breeds distrust. 2023 survey respondents in 6 countries currently consider their societies to be severely polarized. And guess what? The United States is one of them. According to Edelman, the top 3 drivers of polarization are distrust in government, a weak social fabric, and lack of shared identity. I'll talk more about that in Principle 4, belonging, and systemic unfairness, which we'll cover in Principle 7, justice. Today, 65% of the global population considers the lack of civility and mutual respect to be the worst they've ever seen. This presents us with a monumental challenge and a grand opportunity. According to Edelman, business is now the sole institution people tend to see as competent and ethical. Government is viewed as unethical and incompetent. This sentiment has been increasing for the past 3 years. Within organizations, 73% felt they could trust their coworkers, while 64% indicated trust in their CEO. Family-owned businesses are considered to be the most trusted. Now, You and I, as leaders and influencers, have a grand opportunity inside of our organizations to counter society's dwindling trust levels. Here are a few questions for you. As a leader and influencer, are you a positive role model? Do you demonstrate integrity and promote win-win outcomes without exception? Are you trustworthy? Are you reliable? Do you do what you say? Do you own the outcomes and results of what you say and do? And finally, are you trustful? Do you first trust and then verify when appropriate? Trust forms the hub of all 7 natural principles. If you're going to latch on to the present opportunity to help make the world better and safer through your organization, not only must you be trustworthy, you must also trust your team members. For as Lao Tzu put it, he who does not trust enough will not be trusted. In conclusion, trust is the invisible thread that binds people, work teams, and entire organizations. It enables collective growth and progress. It's essential to stability and sustainability. Whether between 2 friends sharing confidences, between spouses and family members, between co-workers, or between citizens and their governing bodies, trust provides the essential bedrock upon which prosperous futures can then be built.